Okay, well, I'm showing 10:01 on my clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. And just want to welcome you all this morning. We're really excited to be able to bring the new Main Street Online tool for bringing your small business community online. This is something that we've been working on collectively with our partners for a number of months through COVID. And so today what we're going to do in this sort of webinar slash meeting, one, we want to give you a chance to ask questions, of course. We're going to share a little bit of sort of what was the impetus behind this and how we see this positioning within sort of our world of Main Street, and the role that we play is boards and directors and working with small business owners all across the US. Obviously, we're going to share the tool. We'll walk through that with you, give you a chance to ask any questions that you might have about the tool itself, but also, I think just as importantly, how do you sort of take the next step as we go through recommendations and get them for implementation? That's obviously the key. Ideas are great and recommendations are great, but having the ability to execute is what gets us there in the long run. And that's a wonderful thing about all of you joining us today as directors. That's what you bring to the table and working with your small business owners. And then we have a special, I would like to say, sort of teaser sneak preview with our partners at GoDaddy as we continue to build on this relationship and this wonderful effort to bring additional tools to small business owners in our Main Street program. So that's sort of the outline today. And again, if you want to stay on mute, that helps. But obviously, when there's questions or opportunities for questions, feel free to unmute and ask or chime in the chat, and we'll save that as well. So why don't we get going here? All right, so special thanks to GoDaddy. As I mentioned, they have been such a strong partner for us in this effort, both just on the philanthropic side, but also on the technical assistance side. When we started this effort, if you recall back in March and April of 2020, when there was lots of interest, obviously, in moving to online, the need to move online, we were finding that it was sort of difficult to sort of maneuver through and gain a lot of clarity on what was the best pathway forward. And through the efforts of GoDaddy, I think what you'll see today is just filling a huge gap, a huge void in the marketplace when it comes to giving advice and really affecting the direct needs and interest of the small business owner based on sort of their typology and who they are, getting very specific on the recommendation side. So I want to talk just briefly about sort of some trends that we were seeing and what's behind the tool and how we think that Main Streets are best positioned to utilize the tool to engage small businesses in getting online. So again, if we sort of go back in our time machine in March and April of 2020, we were certainly seeing the growth in e-commerce. Obviously, as businesses were having to shut down from having foot traffic come in, and seeing this just colossal growth in the e-commerce space. Essentially from an 8-week period of time during that March and April framework, e-commerce grew at a rate that took 10 years previously to grow, and it only took 8 weeks to achieve that. At the same time, we were seeing that consumers were still highly engaged and interested in sort of the types of businesses that you might find along a Main Street, whether they're artisans, artists, makers, to boutique stores, etc. And one only had to look at like Etsy as a platform to kind of see the link there of consumer interest, but having to transition that interest to online simply because perhaps they couldn't shop along our Main Streets at the time. And Etsy grew by 147% during this past year. And while I think, if we were to reflect back and maybe thought about pivoting, a lot sooner, I think, as we saw throughout history of main streets, whether it was Main Street versus the malls, Main Street versus big box, Main Street versus Walmart, I think we got into that sort of approach of Main Street versus clicks in some respects. And what we quickly found out, and probably knew in hindsight, is that really it's about bricks and clicks, is that you can achieve more, you can build better bricks and mortar stores by engaging those, those particular channels. So one of the biggest concerns that we had back when COVID was started, we did a survey of about 6,000 small business owners, less than 20 employees across the US. And we found that nearly 2/3 did not have an e-commerce presence. And those that did, the amount of sales volume that was occurring through that particular channel was pretty low. And so there was not only a lot of non-activity on the e-commerce space, there was also, it wasn't generating, they weren't sort of using it to the fullest perspective. We followed up in January of this year with a little bit smaller survey, just to kind of test, what kind of progress had been made over time. And while there has been certainly some progress, we still have a long way to go. And I think that's really where the importance of this tool comes into play, in getting out to our small businesses and continue to move forward. While we saw about a 10% overall improvement, what we found is that even during the holiday sales period, 68% of those that did have an e-commerce component, it represented less than 10% of their overall businesses. Now, again, there was a lot of excitement to come back to a shopping foot traffic, being outside and going to stores as part of the holiday tradition, but still we have a long way to go, as we can see here. Some other trend lines that I think lend themselves to the use of the tool and engaging more in the tool is we know that there's just more businesses coming into the pipeline, in essence, that there will be more interest in main streets across the country. We even saw that in our December survey, in which overall there were actually more new business starts than closures along main streets throughout the country. However, we want to ensure that they're putting that pathway to a bricks and mortar store while being engaged in an online sort of e-commerce world, that again, bricks and clicks. And so by utilizing tool at the early stage, we get them at a much better footing as they head into really a multiple revenue channel streams here. And this is a great time, frankly, for that to occur. The barriers to entry from an e-commerce perspective continue to get lower. There's more opportunities, but the importance of having the tool is sort of breaking through kind of the clutter of all the different software packages and providers, et cetera, and being able to better understand based on your own, sort of whoever you're working with from a small business perspective, based on what they're trying to accomplish, their consumer profile, what they're actually selling, what their aspirations are, even tech savvy. This tool will better, I think, help them to get through that clutter, the lack of clarity that you often find because there's so much out there to make some decision points. The other sort of converging trend that we were seeing that again lended itself to the creation of the tool was where consumer preference was also going. We know that during COVID, a number of new norms were being created, whether it was sort of delivery, pickup delivery kinds of things, but certainly e-commerce, and new habits have been formed. And while much of that may get pulled back, what's essential is that consumers are indicating that they still have interest in doing some online, and there's a preference for doing online with locally owned businesses. I think what we saw during COVID, or continue to see, is a growing affinity by consumers around small businesses and the importance of having a successful, sustainable small business community, our main streets, urban commercial neighborhood, districts, that give us a sense of place, that speak to where we live and quality of life, much like a school system to a park system, that really consumers are looking at our districts and small business owners like that. But they like the opportunity not only to go visit there, but to be able to shop online. And so if many of our businesses aren't there, we're losing out on the perspective of where consumers would like to be able to at least balance in some cases, sometimes going out, but also being able to shop online. And then finally, what I'd like to just share with you is that, in terms of creating the tool and making that available for small business owners, we really see that Main Street directors play that important connection role. It's not only the connection to the tool and going out and sharing that with your small business owners and getting them engaged and going through the set of questions, helping them to understand the results and what that can mean for their business. But also what we've consistently seen during COVID is that Main Street programs act as that important connector, both at the front end, but also when it comes time for implementation. So once they receive their results, it's so important that we continue to engage with them on maybe resource needs that they'll have in actually implementing, or where to go for locally based services that might be available for them. So these kinds of connections we saw during COVID. This was a part of the study that we did over the summer and asked, where did you go to when you needed connected to technical services or financial resources? And Main Streets came out, the tops in all parts, whether it was small business development centers, chambers of commerce, or city halls. Main Street programs were looked by small businesses as that key connector. And so the Main Street online tool plays that central role, sort of our lane of providing tools that connect small businesses to answers and to resources. So with that, I'm going to now turn it over to Kate at Beyond Main, our development partner on the Main Street online tool, to share more about the tool, the different features, et cetera, and also give you a chance to ask some questions as we go through this. So Kate, I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Great, thanks, Matt. Sorry, I have an echo. Okay. All right, let me show you. Okay, I just had a few slides prepared that I thought would help illustrate the wonderful tool that has been created for all of you to enjoy and use. And as Matt said, my name's Kate Giovan Batista. You can just call me KG. I'm the founder of Beyond Main, and Beyond Main is essentially a hyper-local marketplace. So we help communities create Amazon-like shopping environments within their downtown community, specifically for their small business partners. And we were very fortunate and lucky to be asked to be involved in the design and development of this fabulous tool that will now be able to be placed into your hands, into the hands of small businesses, to help save them time and help get them the answers they need and get on the right track to implementing omni-channel capabilities through their existing brick and mortars, and then layering that bricks to clicks, as Matt mentioned earlier. So I hope by now you've had a chance to visit the website. It's mainstreetonlinetool.org. And really I'll give you some history or some understanding around like what went into creating the tool. And so it really was designed for small businesses that have about 20 or less employees. So we're talking very micro and very small based businesses. We know that the US tends to look at small businesses 500 or less, but we're kind of really focused on those individual Main Street owner operators that are spinning multiple plates, wearing multiple hats, and struggling with how do they do and manage all of these, necessary things that they need to make their business run. So what we did was we looked at the retail, the service, and the food and beverage sector and analyzed over 30 different online e-commerce software categories, as well as almost 150 tools within those specific software categories to help kind of a business walk through an assessment and understand what are the right tools based on my stage, based off of my resource capabilities, and based off of kind of my growth that I'm seeing, and even capabilities internally. And this is just kind of a funny example, but of like all the different systems that we sort of looked at, everything from customer relationship management to accounting software to website design to email marketing software, wholesale marketplaces, generalized marketplaces, e-commerce systems, point of sale systems. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And we know how overwhelming it can be to kind of do the research and spend the time identifying what's the best tool to implement for your business. So really, over 800 hours have gone into designing and developing this tool. And within 15 minutes, you can get a personalized recommendation for a business that helps get them on the path to not only starting an e-commerce business, but even, growing and building upon some of the things that they've already put in place.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think some people may be having trouble hearing you. I can hear you fine, but maybe it's an audio if you want to like lean in closer to the mic or something.
Sure. Okay, great. Thanks for letting me know. I guess just interrupt me if it's still soft. I have my speaker all the way up.
I can hear you fine. I think it might be just some people's connections. I don't know.
All right. And this is Dan. Dan is also a member of Beyond Maine and was the technical development expertise working with us to help create this tool. I'll let him answer questions as well at the end. But essentially how it works is we help you empower your small business community to implement omni-channel e-commerce capabilities, all through a quick assessment tool. So you're going to start off by clicking the Get Started button and entering a series of questions. You'll see that there's a progress bar that lets you know how far to completion you still remain. And it's, there's a variation of answer sets. So there's a sliding scale where you'll ask, what types of business or, food products do you sell? Is it mostly products, only services, or kind of a hybrid? They're forced to kind of choose a track. So are they retail, focused, service, or food and beverage? So that's kind of a really kind of key component to the tools that are provided to them. So these are just some examples of the questions that you will see as you start to work through the survey itself. And then at the end, you will be taken to a page that has the personalized results for that business. On that page, it will kind of take them along, a starting, growing, and building track. And as you scroll down, you'll see around 4 to 5 different segments of what we've deemed as priority software that could really help implement and make a big impact on their e-commerce journey and sales and awareness journey. So there's 2 sort of buttons. They can either email their results to themselves or to whatever email they've kind of like expressed throughout the survey, or print their results is also a capability. And then with email my results, a link will be sent to their email so they can come back and access this at any time. If you're doing the survey with them, you might ask that they forward you those results so that you can kind of assist them in looking through the resources and kind of deciding maybe which ones are within the scope for them to be able to act on immediately and develop that action plan. There's videos that are embedded in here, video tutorials, as well as links to additional resources. And then at the very end, we're of course going to ask for your feedback and suggestions on how or what you might like to see in the future development of this tool. And there's also a button to kind of help connect users who might be doing this independently with their local Main Street Center for additional support, or their local SBD center. So how do you get started and kind of like really effectively using this tool with your business constituents? You can access it from any connected device. So feel free to use your phone, your tablet, or a desktop. You just need internet connection. And be sure that you ask the users to email you those results so that you can help, kind of provide that additional one-to-one guidance as needed in reviewing them. And, I think the next step beyond taking the tool is just helping them craft the action plan. Even if they can only implement one of those software tools or one suggestion from that list, it will make profound impact in helping them get started on their omni-channel journey. And then, of course, we want to hear the feedback. So please provide that to the National Main Street Center on, the effectiveness of the tool in providing results, as well as any suggestions that you have along the way, or anything that the businesses tell you or share with you. And then finally, coming soon, just some things to keep in mind that we are continuing to work on is, as users begin to complete the survey, on the home screen of the Main Street online tool, there will be the ability for their business to be found if they have an existing website. So they will be kind of scrolled and featured as completing the survey and participating. No results will ever be shared. It's just more of a place to highlight the businesses that are participating and kind of taking that first step in looking to improve their operations. And then also more perfection with the Get Connected zip code referral. So as users begin to utilize the tool, we can kind of start to more directly point them to the specific office that can offer them additional assistance. So with that, I will go ahead and kind of open it up. I think I did see some questions maybe, or chat in here.
Kate, do you mind if I say a couple things?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Again, my name is Dan, even though apparently I think I'm under Kate's account, so it says I'm Kate. Under the sharing the assessment and results, I should say. So if someone takes the assessment and gets the results, that yes, they can email it to themselves. It will only email to the email address that they put in the assessment. But if they want to print the results, they can also, on that print screen, they can also click download, and it'll download it as a PDF. And then, they can share that with you if needed. So just to mention that, it's just another way to get the assessment, not necessarily only have to be in a hard copy. It could be downloaded as PDF.
Let's see if I had the result link in here. Let's see if I can show exactly. Here we are. So this is a live example of what a results survey would look like.
Kate, it looks like we don't see that part of your screen.
All right, hold on. Let's try. Here we go. Are we all good? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So as Dan kind of mentioned with the email, the buttons are there for email or print, as well as sharing the tool. They can easily share the tool. But as you scroll down, you'll be able to see the different various, for this specific business case we walked through, we recommended website e-commerce systems. There's a wonderful tutorial video here from GoDaddy that we featured, as well as software systems that we recommend, and additional resources and reading that we think are very helpful in how you go about implementing an e-commerce system. As well as point of sale systems if they need kind of a terminal that really are very universal and can kind of work seamlessly with those e-commerce systems. and other various software tools that we think they would likely need. This specific business was a food business we were looking at, and so there are specific industry software that are designed and better to implement for specific industries. So we kind of take a deeper dive into those. And this is just, a helpful kind of example to show the type of results that you would get.
I think in total, Kate and Dan, if memories serve, there's about 30 different resource categories that are examined depending upon the responses by the small business.
Yeah, it's about a series of 26 questions in totality. Not every business will take all 26. It's really dependent upon kind of as they go through answering the questions, what question in their path they get displayed next. But the total survey, if a business had to answer all of the questions, including demographic, is around 25, 26 questions.
Oh, I think you meant the actual number of resource categories like POS systems and stuff, but I think that's around 30.
For categories, yes, but the systems within each category, I believe the total is closer to 150.
Yeah, and then inside each category, for instance, point of sale systems, we have multiple pieces of software that can be displayed. So anywhere between 1 and 6 or so different types of software, depending on how they answer the questions, the software will display differently to meet their needs, whether it's cost or ease of use and different things. So it's definitely more tailored to them based on how they answer the questions during the assessment.
Great. So this doesn't build a platform. This is just, okay, so we have a question. This doesn't build the platform for them. This is just to provide them with the list of resources. Yes, this tool is meant to be educational in nature, to provide a list of referral reference resources that are recommended for that business. Oh, you're on mute, Matt.
Darn, you should know after a year of Zoom, right? Maybe just to add on to this, that what we were finding in the marketplace is that there's a lot of resources out there, but nothing was really tailored to the individual business, and that's why we think this is so critical. If you small business goes out and starts looking on the web for one, what they think they need. But two, they often don't know what they actually do need. So by going through the assessment process, they're getting tailored resources. They're not just a sort of a laundry list of resources. They're getting ones that are particular to the needs of the business that you're engaging. And then, by better, more connections to Main Street, obviously being engaged with them or your local SBDC. The goal, of course, is then to be able to take those resources that have been provided or recommended and begin then the implementation process from there, maybe with local providers or obviously direct with software providers. Kate, I think we've got another one here.
Yeah, okay, I'll just read it out. Do you have an estimate on how much money the business would need to implement a recommendation? Maybe an average, just thinking if there is a way we could incentivize the education with funding to implement. P.S. Hey, Matt. That's from Suzanne. So that can really vary. And that's also like a dependency question based off of how they answer. So, we take a look at, or we ask them to sort of give us a range of their revenue over the last year-over-year comparison. Along with several other qualifier questions. So the tools that we might recommend for one business based off of their answer set could be much higher because of their capabilities we're assuming they would likely need at the stage they're at. But on the low end, I mean, there's software out there that's pretty well encompassing. I mean, I can just speak to ours. It's, $39 a month is going to give you complete e-commerce capabilities. And then you can slide, all the way up to $2,000 a month if they need portals and hardware and additional software. So it can really range. I'm sorry to say, but it's a range, and that's this first step in getting them to understand what systems are out there that are going to be most effective for them to use will help them figure out what is that operational cost from a software perspective.
We also do ask them in the sort of the questions about trying to better understand sort of their resources and sort of their tech savviness. So again, a lot of this matching is being done to correlate better with kind of where they're at on their journey, what their resource profile is like, because to Kate's point, there's a wide spectrum out there. And again, that's part of being able to sort of cut through some of the minutia of how much software is out there and available, but to give them specifics based on their sort of internal operations.
Dan, do you have anything to add to that?
Not really, right now at least. I'd say there are some freeware too. So if we're talking about the same question, it's just not only, sometimes it doesn't always cost money either. So it could be zero.
Any other questions? I don't see anything in the chat, but if anyone wants to unmute. Oh, we've got another one that came up.
The Snap. Okay, so do you know if any of these sales systems accept EBT or SNAP benefit payments? I'm not familiar with what EBT stands for, but I do know SNAP, so I'm assuming they're in the same ballpark. I don't know the answer to that. Dan, do you?
No. So I guess you could say that there are a lot of different, not caveats, odds and ends to this that could be addressed. But it's all about is it worthwhile to address it or not? I mean, it's going to clutter up the system, or for maybe just to address one little section of a need. So I'd say what we're going for with the tool is to make a personalized results and as much of a starting point so that they can be less intimidated, have resources to tackle the online space. There is going to be, no matter what happens, there's always going to be some people with special needs that have certain questions, and they're just going to have to probably do a little bit more research on their own. But there's always going to be probably a living document too. I mean, we're going to be improving it or responding to feedback. So there could be things that could change.
Yeah, I would think that if we just use an example of like a point of sale software where we're giving 4 recommendations, part of then, if to Dan's point, if there's very specific needs of the small business, you begin to examine each one of those for sort of their characteristics and what they offer. But we want to get you to that point to understand you need one. These are probably the best that work for your particular conditions, and then taking a little bit deeper dive and doing some of your own sort of research on those recommendations.
Okay. Another question. There are many platforms that offer a free site to get started, and then you can scale as you need additional features. It is good to think about what you really want your e-commerce site to do. Yes, yeah, we agree. And there are several that we've, suggested that if it's sort of their entry point into this, that do have freemium offerings to get you started, as well as the ability to grow. And that's really kind of what we're looking to most effectively, provide is the ability for this to be, evolve as the business needs to evolve with it. Sometimes you can start on a free system, but then the limitations are pretty significant for where you want to take it. So, we tried to do the heavy lifting and the work of understanding what systems offer really low cost or no cost entry points, and then you have the ability to grow and build on top of it and increase your tech stack over time.
Okay, any other additional questions for Kate or Dan? As always, you can also use our Main Street at savingplaces.org as questions arise. I'll repeat that at the end, or as you're using the tool with your small business owners and you're thinking about certain questions or different features, feel free to continue to engage. Like any software, I think most people recognize that you come out with version 1.0, quickly come out with version 1.2 or 2.0. So we'll continue to evolve as we get additional feedback. I think I can answer this one. Does the tool connect into the local Main Street office? So sort of early, and then probably I won't put Kate and Dan on the spot, but soon. So right now, what you're able to do is at the end, after the resource recommendations, there's a button like a Get Local Resources button, I think that Kate showed earlier. That will connect you to the SBDC national, much like us, the national office where you can search for that, as well as our website. We are, however, building that particular feature to align to the zip code that the small business inputted into the questions. So yes, we will get to the point in the near term where if it's within a certain distance of you, an Iowa Main Street local program, or somewhere else in the country, it will provide your, we have the database, obviously, and so it will start to connect directly to you, okay? So right now, it's more go to the parent, sort of the parent national website and find the local, but it will, we'll get to that point pretty shortly.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that this is clear. As far as the SBDCs, it goes to a finder. And then if I think right now we have a list of 1,000 or around 1,000 plus zip codes, and if they match that zip code, we'll match them with the downtown association. But if they aren't in a zip code that we have, we'll just match them. We'll send them to a general link that they can find one. But we might be increasing the list to be more robust number of zip codes. And if you don't have a zip code that in there, I guess we'd be happy to add one. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else? All right, all good questions, and I'm sure more will populate after. Again, reach out. You also see my email address in there if you want to chat with me offline. Totally available. Okay, so what I want to do now is we continue to evolve and bring about new tools as we understand so much about the importance of small businesses, your economic vitality efforts, and working with entrepreneurs in small businesses. And our work with GoDaddy over this past year has resulted in so many different opportunities. And as that continues to evolve, we wanted to provide a little bit of a teaser on another upcoming opportunity that we're working on. And so I'm so glad to have Stacey Klein, who's the Senior Director of Corporate Social Responsibility at GoDaddy, to talk about the Empower program from GoDaddy in terms of digital resources and training opportunities for small businesses and entrepreneurs. Stacy, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Kate. Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be with you today and share some information about Empower by GoDaddy and the opportunity that you all have to get involved and offer this resource to the small businesses that you're working with. So I've been hearing a lot of questions that I'm going to also relate to the Empower program in here. But the Empower program is really going to be an additional resource for you to provide to these small businesses to help them apply some of the learnings and key findings they're getting from that tool. So the two really work hand in hand. But backing up here for a second here, if you're not familiar with GoDaddy, our mission is to empower entrepreneurs everywhere and make opportunity more inclusive for all. But as we all know, opportunity isn't inclusive or even accessible for a lot of people, and millions of entrepreneurs face barriers to success. So to address this, back in 2017, we launched Empower by GoDaddy, which is our signature social impact program to address the gaps we saw in the market for entrepreneurs in underserved areas or minority entrepreneurs. And our mission is to equip these entrepreneurs with the training, tools, and the resources that they need to be successful in their small business journey. So we run this program by partnering with organizations across the US and Europe to recruit, support, and empower entrepreneurs in these underserved communities who are often left out of the small business ecosystem by helping them gain critical digital skills and access to other resources. Because we believe that anyone, anywhere should have an equal opportunity at starting or growing their own business. So before I get too far into this, you've heard me use the term underserved a couple of times. And what I want to clear up here is that this is a very broad term. Really, when we think about the entrepreneurs we work with and who are a good fit for the Empower program, these are the micro businesses. They're the very, very, very small businesses. Just like Kate talked about, these are the micro businesses in the communities, but they are also aspiring or current business owners. So they might not be in business quite yet, but they have an idea and they want to figure out how to get launched. These entrepreneurs often live in underserved communities where they may not have access to other programs or resources, or they may not be able to afford any existing programs or resources. The entrepreneurs that we work with are also highly diverse, and they are pursuing their business, their passion as a small business or a nonprofit. So it's not exclusive to small businesses. We also work with nonprofits. But really what they have in common is that they want to move their business to the next level. They're seeking new skills and knowledge to strengthen their digital presence, and they want to learn from others and build their networks. These individuals either don't have a digital presence yet, they might have a minimal digital presence, and they're really looking for a refresh and to launch that digital presence and get online. So we approach digital empowerment a little bit differently here, and we do this through 4 key pillars. So these are the things that we provide to our partners at no cost, and our partners are the ones who then are on the ground working with these small businesses. So first, what we provide is a customized and accessible learning experience for both the entrepreneurs and the organizations supporting those entrepreneurs. So this is a virtual learning management system that has 10 different courses in it, and it's built to allow entrepreneurs to self-guide through this content to learn how to apply some of these key learnings directly to their business. This content is available in both English and in Spanish. It's just a click of a button to change your profile, and the entire system will translate. This virtual learning management system also allows our partner organizations, or those who are assisting small business owners, to go in and look at the back end, and you can see which entrepreneurs are going through the program, what courses they're taking, if they're getting stuck, if they're asking questions. So it really allows a great experience for both the organizations and the entrepreneurs. What we also provide is free access to MicroMentor and GoDaddy mentoring resources. So we know it's important to get this content out in front of small business owners to help them understand how to apply these learnings and how to build their digital presence. But oftentimes they need a little bit of that additional one-on-one advisory support. So what we do is we have a ton of our GoDaddy volunteers and our mentors who are working with small business owners every single day who sign up as mentors. And then any entrepreneur coming through this program can sign up and they'll get an Empower badge so that the entrepreneur and the GoDaddy volunteer can find each other and they can team up and have a mentoring relationship. So if, for example, an entrepreneur is really interested in advising or getting a mentor in topic areas that aren't necessarily GoDaddy's area of expertise. For instance, if they're looking for legal assistance. This platform is open for the entrepreneurs and access to all mentors within MicroMentor. So there's thousands of mentors who have expertise in different small business topics that these entrepreneurs can then go in and get connected to. Through this program, we also offer discounted products. So it's pretty much a 30% discounted rate on all of our products. So an entrepreneur wanting to get a domain name, they want to build a website, they are able to do that at a discounted cost. And then of course we have support from GoDaddy staff and our learning experience professionals. So this is where we really come in to support you all as administrators of small business programming and working directly with these business owners. We have a day-to-day contact for you to work with. If there's something that you're experiencing that you need assistance with, if you're getting questions from a business owner that you don't know how to answer, we ensure that you have that support both on the GoDaddy side, but also on the learning platform side to get you that assistance that you need. So through Empower, we offer 10 different courses. So we start off with sort of this key branding and your domain name. So helping these business owners understand what do they want their brand to look like. Then we help them evaluate their business. So who are your customers? What are you trying to accomplish? What have you done so far? And what can you continue doing, or what do you need to change? We then go into building a website. So this focuses both on creating the right content for your website, but then also designing your website and building out your UX. We then move into some topics that go a little bit deeper into digital presence, things like search engine optimization, marketing and reaching your customers, e-commerce, sales, security, and social media. So again, all of these topics are built to self-guide, for entrepreneurs to self-guide through a series of blog posts, through quizzes, through videos, but these courses can all also be taught directly to an entrepreneur. We've created this content to be in very digestible, bite-sized pieces so that it isn't overwhelming and has actionable steps so that these entrepreneurs can go in and take the next step and actually build out their online presence or build their website. So it's not just informational, but helps them get to that next level. So this is something that we're going to be offering to all of you. So in addition to this tool, this is another resource that you can provide to help the business owners you're working with just dive a little bit deeper into this content. What we'll do here in just a second is we'll launch a poll in a minute where you can indicate if you're interested in learning more about this program and getting involved. And then what we'll do is we'll set up follow-up sessions to dive into the details of this and help you all get onboarded. From there, we'll provide the materials that you need to actually go out and launch this to your business owners. So again, this is a completely free resource. We are here to back up the support every day, but it's an additional way to help engage with the business owners you're working with and get them to that next step. So before we launch this poll, I want to pause for a second and just see if there's any questions. And then there was one question earlier that I wanted to address. So on the question around EBT and SNAP payments, GoDaddy's website builder, that's our main website building tool. We have a point of sale integration with Point, and Point does accept EBT. So that is an option that will already be built in to the current website builder through GoDaddy. All right, I will open it up here if anyone has any questions about the program or opportunities to get involved.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Question I have is I'd like to learn this before contacting my clients or the entrepreneurs. So you're going to give us a way that we can maybe build our own website, say a fictitious website, so that we have the skill set to help our entrepreneurs build their website?
Yeah, we could absolutely look into that. We can provide you your own site. What we'll also do is provide you access to the learning management system, so you can go through all of the courses that the entrepreneurs would go through as well.
Okay, and you'll tell us how to get to that, how to do that.
Yep, we'll have some follow-up sessions after this where we'll dive into the learning management system, and we'll provide an onboarding package so that you all have all the resources that you need to be able to, one, get used to the platform yourself, and then launch this to the business owners.
Thank you.
Any other questions? A couple in the chat. So on signing up, we're going to launch a poll here in a second where you can indicate if you're interested, and then we'll send a follow-up after this where we'll have some of those onboarding conversations. As far as the timeline for the Empower program, there isn't one right now. We want to get folks into this and launching this out to business owners as soon as you're launching out the tool, since the two really go hand in hand, but there's no other timeline for that. Okay. Feel free to keep putting questions in the chat if anything comes up. Otherwise, if we want to launch the poll, Matt.
Yeah, that sounds great. All right, Amanda, can you go ahead and launch the poll? And I just want to say thanks again to Stacy, to Kate and Dan for joining on the training webinar today. This has been a complete team effort, and wouldn't have gotten this point without all the support of both GoDaddy and Beyond Maine. So thank you all so very, very much. Thanks to our directors for joining us. And yeah, Amanda, I don't know if you can, I think you can launch it from you're the host.
Yep, I already launched it.
Oh, perfect. Maybe I just couldn't see it on my end. Okay. All right. And what we'll do, just as Stacy had mentioned, GoDaddy is developing a portal for Main Street America. There'll be more information coming out on how your local programs can participate and start to engage entrepreneurs in the training modules. And so, again, another wonderful tool that we can bring along with the Main Street Online tool to our small businesses and new emerging micro ventures and entrepreneurs. So thanks, everyone. And are you seeing, Amanda, it's starting to populate on your side?
Yes.
All right. Okay. And just finally, if there are additional follow-ups, I'm going to put my email address in here, as well as the general inbox. There are questions either about the online tool or the Empower program and just wanting to get involved. You can feel free to reach out. So I'll do that right now before we conclude today. Let's see. Okay, should all have that. All right, we should probably be through the poll at this point. What we're going to do is we're going to take that information, build out a list, and as Stacy mentioned, we'll be looping back with everyone with additional information here in the near term. Okay, so I just want to thank everyone for coming today. Again, you see the email addresses there. Feel free to reach out with any other comments or questions. And we'll look forward to your feedback and using the tool and all good things to come. So thank you all so very, very much. Best of luck. And thanks for all you do for Main Streets and small businesses in your programs. Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, Amanda, I think it'll just generate a report on the back end, and you just want to email it to me or something.
Do I have to, it's giving me the option to download the stuff?
Yeah, I would go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Yep.
Alrighty.
I was just staying on online in case it didn't let you make sure you can download before we lose the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Perfect. I got it.
Okay, wonderful. All right. Thanks so much for all the help, Amanda.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye.